I've shown you. Now it's your turn. Open your eyes. It was the Sunday after the tragedy of the cross, the killing of Jesus. And yes, the women had come back from the grave with a tale. But who could believe such things? Angels? The stone rolled away? More likely grave robbers. Or the Romans. The harsh reality was, it was over, and Jerusalem was no place to be. They had gotten Jesus. The followers would likely be next. It was time to break up the band and go home. Home to Emmaus. As the two walked, a traveler joined them. Now, this wasn't that unusual. Travelers often bonded together. There was an element of danger in moving from city to city, and robbers would likely think twice about attacking three men. But this guy, he must have been asleep under a rock. He hadn't even heard of Jesus or of what had happened to him. But when they told him the story, suddenly he was scolding them and revealing the scriptures to them, telling them that what had happened was exactly what had to happen. And when they invited him into their house to dinner, and when he broke the bread, they realized this was no stranger at all. I've shown you. Now it's your turn. Open your eyes. There's a wonderful old story that's used in the Disney movie Soul. It's a great movie, by the way. Really worth your time. The film's about a jazz musician who has been waiting his whole life for a big break, the chance to play with a great artist, to be part of an exceptional band. And while he's a wonderful guy and he does a lot of good things and is often very kind, he gets impatient. Even better. Nothing around him is good enough or enough. His dream is everything. And without spoiling the movie for you, I'll just say that he makes it. He gets that magic gig, that place in the band, playing with a famous saxophone player. But after that wonderful gig, he finds himself standing outside of the club with that sax player. And he says, I've waited my whole life for this. I just thought I'd feel different. And the sax player tells him the old story. Once a young fish came to an old fish and said, I want to find the ocean. And the old fish said, it's all around you. And the young fish replied, this is water. I want to find the ocean. It kind of reminds me of a story about the Buddha. One time Buddha was asked, Sir, what do you and your monks practice? And Buddha said, we sit, we walk, we eat. But sir, the questioner continued, everybody sits and walks and eats. And Buddha replied, when we sit, we know we are sitting. When we walk, we know we are walking. When we eat, we know we are eating. A lot of times in life, we're looking for the ocean. That perfect confluence of events that is going to make our dreams come true. That instant that will change everything so we can really start living. It might be the job we've always wanted. It might be a house, that car. It might be a relationship we've dreamed of. It might be getting included in a group that we've always wanted to be part of. But it's going to be the thing our heart is set on. That thing that's going to give us the ocean, and then life will begin. But a lot of times, when we find it, if we find it, we find it wasn't quite what we thought it was. Or that the glow fades and life stays much the same and we get disappointed. Or maybe we realize something more important. Jesus was at the table with those traveling disciples, but they couldn't see him. On the road, he was revealing the scriptures to them, telling them stories, but even as their hearts were burning within them, they couldn't see him. As they entered the house and they took off their outer garments, as he removed that head covering that certainly everyone would have been wearing on the journey, they still couldn't see him. But when he took the bread and he blessed it and he broke it and he opened his arms to give it to them, their eyes were opened and they were reborn. They were reborn even as he was taken from their sight. With those words, with those actions, the message was clear. I've shown you, now it's your turn. Open your eyes. The wonder and beauty and mystery that Jesus is and revealed is everywhere. The water is the point. The disciples waking up to the fact that they are sitting and walking and eating and breathing is the point. The magic of the Holy Spirit binding us together as we walk and we talk and serve each other with actions of love as we would serve Christ is the point. And Christ is no longer just a man on the cross. He's one with the holy mystery of spirit that holds this beautiful, joyful, painful mess we call life together. And he's with us in a new way. In a way that is even more powerful than his human witness. And at Emmaus, he's saying to the disciples, I've shown you. Now it's your turn. Open your eyes. Open your eyes to the wonder of life and do what I have done. Open your eyes to the wonder of life and live it. Live every moment. Thich Nhat Hanh says, many people are alive but do not touch on the miracle of being alive. We miss the forest for the trees. We miss the ocean for what seems to be the water around us. Our dreams do not all have to come true for us to find joy in life. The joy is in the journey, whether the dreams come true or not. And if a dream comes true and we haven't found joy on the way, we're not going to find joy in that either. Or the joy will be remarkably short-lived. Jesus is standing before us. He is breaking the bread. He is placing it in our hands, becoming that bread and wine, giving us a point of contact with reality. The reality that is the miracle of this moment, every moment. The miracle of being alive on an unlikely blue ball hurtling through space. The eternal is in that bread and wine. And it's meant to remind us that the eternal is also in his teaching, in actions of love for one another, in prayers for strength and healing, in the hugs that we will one day share again, in the tears wept at a deathbed, in the tears wept at a birth, in the dog greeting you at the door, the cat curled up on your lap, the joy of a feast or a simple sandwich, the cool glass of water, the touch of a friend's hand, the sun and wind on your face, in your very breath. The ocean that is the miracle of life is all around us, and every second of it is a moment Jesus is calling us to live. It's our turn. We need to open our eyes. There's new life. The grave is empty. And in many ways, Jesus stands before us with that broken bread, calling us to wake up. Wake up and join him in the journey. Be filled with his power and embrace the new life he has revealed, a life that has always been there and always will be.